Good afternoon, curling fans. Welcome to the Penticton Curling Club, home of the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic, the first annual event. $66,000 on the line all weekend long, and it comes down to this final between Kevin Cooey with a 6-1 record against Niklas Edin's Swedish team at 7-0. All on the line for $18,000. I'm Jock Tyre, sitting here with Elaine Dag-Jackson, national coach of Canadian women's teams. Elaine, it's going to be an exciting one this afternoon.
Well, we had a great start today, Jock. As you saw, we had two really great semifinals this morning with 4 of the top few teams on the World Tour. Both games came down to the very end, with Team Cooey coming out from behind, a little bit of a deficit position, came back, took that game, and Mike McEwen and Niklas Edin skipped by Oscar Eriksson. Another close game, extra end. In fact, there were so many great shots. It was an exciting morning, and I'm really expecting that this game is going to be as good or even better.
So we're starting off because Niklas Edin's team has a perfect 7-0 record. They're getting the hammer in the first end. Kevin Cooey's team calling the first rock. How'd we get here? As Elaine said, Niklas Edin defeating Mike McEwen 5-4 in an extra end. Kevin Cooey defeating Peter de Cruz 8-6 in the other semifinal.
So 8 teams advanced through to this championship round at this event. 24 teams started in 4 pools of 6 teams each. That meant that each team got to play 5 round-robin games, with the top 8 teams of the entire field coming out and qualifying for the playoffs. So it wasn't the top ones in each pool, it was the top overall. 6 of the teams came clear through to the playoffs, with the final 2 teams having to go through an extensive tiebreaker procedure where there were 6 teams, 2 draws of tiebreakers last night. Some of the teams, such as I believe Thomas Ulrud, had to play 4 games yesterday. The tiebreakers were only 6 ends, but it was a grueling day on the circuit on the World Curling Tour here in Penticton. And today in the final, we have the survival of the fittest. No surprise to anybody that's watching curling today that we've got Team Kevin Cooey, Team Niklas Edin switching it up a little bit for this entire weekend with their back end switching positions. And it's going to be a great match this afternoon. So
both teams playing a little bit cautious here, with Kevin Cooey starting off instead of going with the center guard, going right in, and then we've just traded hits with a rollout on the last one. So we're fairly defensive. Both teams probably coming up a very quick changeover between games, and probably just trying to get themselves back into the game after a quick bite to eat and out onto the ice.
Yeah, there's a few factors at play here for sure, Jock. That break was very short. We just finished the last game about 45 minutes ago, not even, and then they had a pre-game practice again. So they go from playing the final end of the game to coming out and playing the pre-game practice. Draws, they didn't make a lot of the draws in the pre-game practice. The rocks were coming up short, so you know, they may not be coming into this first end feeling like they are at the top of the game like they were at the end of the last game. So another factor at play here is these are 2 teams that play each other all the time. They know a lot about each other. They know they're going to be playing lots again in the future. So, you know, sometimes they like to shake it up a bit. They don't want to be too predictable.
No, you got 2 teams that are hoping to be seeing each other. You've got Niklas Edin's rink going already through to the Olympics representing Sweden, and Cooey's team going to the trials hoping to represent Canada.
Yeah, pretty interesting scenario with the 4 teams we had left this morning, with the 2 European teams, Edin from Sweden and de Cruz from Switzerland, already having achieved their Olympic berths. They are training. They are getting ready for February, and they don't have... They are going to the Europeans, but that is not of much concern to them at this point. They're looking forward to the Olympics to be prepared and ready for their best performance in February. On the other hand, the other 2 finalists today, Team Cooey and Team McEwen, they are just a couple of weeks away from the Canadian Olympic Curling Trials, the Roar of the Rings in Ottawa, just a few weeks from now. And they are at a completely different time of their season, whereby they are looking to have a very peak performance in just a few weeks. So a little bit of different situation for each of these teams, but both very, very focused on what they're doing.
We got a miss out of Cooey's team with a straight back hit and sticking it, which Oscar Eriksson immediately went around and buried it beautifully. Cooey trying to get rid of that mistake that they made by peeling off that guard, but is now Oscar's playing a real simple deuce, trying to draw in over on the open side and see if he can hold on to this end and get his 2 right off the get-go.
Yeah, a couple little errors there. I'm not sure if on Brent's shot there, if he was trying the run-through or the peel. I'm thinking that plan A was the run-through. That did not materialize. So opportunity to set up too early in the end here. We know that if a 2 is on the horizon this early in the end, it's not all that often that it continues through all the way to the end of the end. There's multiple opportunities to get out of trouble with many rocks to come, but it is in play at this moment. So Kevin has to do something to make this 2 go away, either by rolling behind a guard, rolling into a position where he's going to leave himself a potential future double.
Nose is not horrible. I'm thinking good normal.
So things quickly turn around because we saw very, very conservative start to the game with some hits and some peels, and now we're kind of into it already with just, you know, a couple of half shots.
Yep. Whoa.
So we got left-hander Mark Kennedy playing the hit on the run on the outside edge of the 12-foot, just sticking it, and see what Oscar Eriksson calls in response.
So that rock is getting pretty close to the front of the house. It's going to be out of play soon unless there's a roll.
So Edin gets the hit, but rolls all the way across, setting up a double if he chooses to call it. For Mark Kennedy.
Got to be a thick half, no thinner.
Thick half, no thinner, Kevin says. I'm presuming he'll be able to stay. It would be important for him to stick on this.
Can't be thinner than a half is fine, no thinner. What do you like there? You think that's lots? Half is good.
Seeing the big weight coming out right away.
Real hard. Hard!
Misses the double and rolls out. So Oscar is going to, looks like maybe again try to split the house and ask Niklas Edin to draw in to the outside edge of the 12-foot.
So the longer they preserve these 2 rocks in the house throughout this end, the more of a chance there will be for Team Edin to hang on to this potential deuce. Having a free throw here, they get to place this rock in a position that will give Team Cooey less of an opportunity to get out of this.
It's a little bit of challenge early in the end with only 4 practice up and 4 practice rock back. They don't really know exactly what the ice is going to do, so a little bit of a question if they play the wraparound, where to put the broom, or whether just to draw wide open and not let that guard come into play at all.
And I think Team Edin is going to be very comfortable no matter what is unfolding here. They've got the hammer. They're in a pretty non-stressful situation here right at the start of the game. They're having a chance to practice some draws.
Sweepers waited on that a little bit, but now the skipper, Oscar, has come out to help them, trying desperately to get that rock into the rings, and it does come up just a shade short. So we got to say advantage Cooey now. He's got an opportunity to make a hit and roll in behind some cover over there.
Yeah, that's a huge break for Team Cooey. The ice is a little different out on the sides. If you were with us watching this morning, we mentioned about the path down the middle, from the middle of the 8-foot to the middle of the 8-foot, is pretty slick and got a really nice sliding surface, but as you get out to the edges, there have been very few rocks down there, and so if a rock is moving across to that side part of the ice, it is going to probably slow down a bit more. And that's what happened with, I believe if they got on that rock earlier, they would have been able to preserve the speed and get that rock into the house if they'd swept it a little bit earlier. Tough to judge.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off ice where it's already broken in, and again, only a half-hour break, so they're trying to get adjusted to brand new ice, fresh, crisp, clean ice that hasn't really been worn in at all. And we know that there was a full second difference in the times between practice and the second end in the other games. So we anticipate it's probably very similar.
Yep.
A little bit stiffer and not sliding quite as far. So Kevin Cooey making a great hit, but not quite the roll he wanted. He wanted to roll a shade bit more behind cover.
Kind of all in between there. It was just pretty lightweight, so it didn't have a chance to roll too much.
Lite solid I sliden så.
So Oscar Ericsson's skipping today's outing. He's been skipping the entire event, and obviously the experiment's working with them having a perfect 7-0 record coming into this game, the final.
So Team Sweden, Team Niklas, Edin, they are the Olympic team. And so they have the benefit of a little time to try out certain situations that will enable them to be more prepared for their Olympic experience. So in this situation during this competition, they are testing the event.
What a great shot.
If Niklas Edin was unable to play or unable to skip, they've got a plan in place whereby they've got Oscar ready to step into that position. And as Jock mentioned, this experiment has been very successful. They are undefeated at this event, so they must be feeling very confident.
Oscar makes a great, sorry Elaine,
yep.
Makes a great little hit and roll there, just a down weight, not much more than hack weight, rolling behind cover, making it a little more challenging for Kevin Cooey. And this is what we saw in the semifinal. They were making Mike McEwen make a lot tougher shots than Mike was making Oscar make.
Yeah, for sure. That was a perfect roll. Just brings the degree of difficulty of Kevin Cooey's last shot up significantly. It's a weight and a line shot. If it had been wide open, it would have been much less degree of difficulty. It's still a very makeable shot.
Normal out here?
You hear the call right away, board weight, so he's playing a bit of a down weight.
Yep, whoa! Whoa! Roll it behind the blue!
Skip calling him off. He doesn't really paper the guard. He misses the guard by a fair bit and rolls just about out of the rings, but he has left himself exposed out there.
What a great shot. Yeah, really, really nice shot for first end of the game. Again, making Oscar have to throw a shot that's going to be a lot more difficult than an open hit. Lots of nice shots early in this game.
And the other left-hander out on the ice, Oscar Eriksson. So he can see just a shade more of that rock than a right-handed thrower. And the big weight comes out. And he clips the guard. Maybe a little shade, and we got a steal of one for Team Cooey. So in this semifinal, Kevin Cooey jumping out to an early 1-0 lead on a steal on a miss by Oscar Eriksson, who didn't really miss a whole lot in the semifinal game against Mike McEwen.
So super harmless steal, kind of came out of nowhere, with Team Cooey being at a little bit of a disadvantage for most of that end, looking at potential score of 2, and making a really nice hit and roll to put a little bit of pressure on Oscar, and I think they knew right out of his hand that it was a little bit tight. He tried to sweep it by that guard, it just ticked it. Sometimes you get lucky and that guard just ticks into the house instead of right through. But Cooey, basically with that steal, just gained the advantage of Hammer in the first end by scoring first. And we'll be watching the scoreboard analysis throughout this game and trying to take a look at who's got the scoreboard advantage. And right now, Cooey's got that.
And again, we're sticking to a real simple plan here. Kevin Cooey going into the rings the second end as well. Trying to make Eriksson make that first move, which he's going to do. He's going to call that corner guard. Not seeing quite as much curl right now as we did on the latter end, so I think it'll start to, as this ice break in, it'll start to curl a little bit more and we'll see the speed pick up.
So this is a very typical shot pattern for with and without Hammer. Team Cooey is going to put 2 rocks in play that eventually will have to be dealt with, while Team Edin is trying to put some rocks in a position where he can draw the play away from the center and create a multiple scoring situation.
Hard, right up.
Trying to drag that rock and get every ounce of curl as they can out of it to cover up protect that rock in the top 4 foot.
Yeah, now if they're going to leave part of that rock that's almost on the 4 foot, if they're going to leave part of that rock exposed, they wanted it to be the other side of the rock, because allowing them to look at this side of the rock sets them up for a potential roll behind that corner guard, whereas if it was the other side of the rock of that guard, they would have been hitting and rolling to the open side, which is of much less benefit to Team Sweden.
That rock's starting to take off. And again, it's rubbed the guard. I don't know if Oscar's just struggling to predict the ice right now, but he didn't have the sweepers on until late on that shot, and we end up rubbing a guard again.
Yeah, and as I mentioned this morning, Jock, I've been here all weekend. I've watched the entire round robin, and those are the typical errors that were made all weekend. That little bit of lack of anticipation of when that rock is going to break, and once it breaks, it's just too late. The sweepers or the line caller has to be on the call just before the break. And even in that situation, if they'd even left a little longer, they might have whipped the guard and rolled behind the corner guard, which would have been a really great plan B. So it's not easy out there to read these ice conditions. It's not simple.
Hard.
A lot of skill required in this shot management, and there's a great shot with enough tolerance in the weight that the sweepers are able to just kind of place it right on the center line.
Oscar's looking at whether he plays the double or just clears the 1 and leaves the corner guard over there. Those rocks are almost perfectly parallel. Indicating that center one might be a shade higher. My Swedish is picking up since the last game.
Yeah, in a couple of hours, Jock, you've learned a lot of Swedish.
tar du den först så blir det okej också. Nej, det ska fan inte vara ett hål.
So teams are doing a lot of talking, not just about what shot they're calling, but about how they're going to make the shot, which way they want to roll, when they feel they'd like to be sweeping it.
Beautifully played.
Nice call. Nice
a nice little squeeze right through the middle. When you see a rock coming through there like that through a port, it means that you pretty much hit it perfectly in the middle. Doesn't happen very often. And with a lot of weight.
Yes, as you say, if it hits more of one than the other, then that shooter is not staying in play. Everything's going to roll out.
Whoa.
Brent Lang putting it out just a shade there. Kevin Cooey reacting by calling whoa right immediately out for line.
Exactly as called. Team Cooey really wanted that rock to stay in play. With the two rocks in play, it makes it a little tougher for Oscar Eriksson and Team Sweden to be able to bring that corner guard into play.
With Oscar playing the rollover to that other side lane, does that mean he's kind of aiming for the blank, or is he, you would think that if he was going for his two, he might roll behind the guard?
Well, I think he's just looking at those options right now. It's just the middle of the end, so he's definitely got some time to keep both options open at this point. A little bit of a discussion towards the other end of if they want to eliminate or if they want to hit and roll, and I think they're going to try to eliminate.
And a beautiful cross the house double there.
Double called, double made. Simple.
Simple game. The ability to throw that kind of weight with that kind of accuracy is just unbelievable for these guys, and such a key tool to have in your bag.
It's huge. If you can throw that kind of weight, you bring so much more room for error in how much of those rocks you have to hit. Even just ticking a tiny bit of it, that rock's gone.
Clean. Whoa. Clean. Whoa. Throw.
So it's always interesting to watch the decision-making unfold and see how much risk the teams will take on at what point in the game. And you know, there's no doubt earlier in the games in the round robin, they're taking on a lot more risk than they are in a final here, where there's this huge amount of money on the line. And so this is not a high risk, but it is a little bit of a risk. They're ignoring an opposition stone, going around a corner guard. The opportunity is that they could set themselves up for 2 points. The disadvantage is if things don't go well, they may get forced to 1 point.
And that's big. In this game, you do not want to give up the hammer without getting your 2 points. It's always a disappointment to be forced to take your one. Sweepers are on this one really hard. He's just going to paper by that rock, and as we learned in the earlier games, if you come paper by the rock, sometimes you come out the other side. Which what it appears to have done a little bit there.
I don't think it's quite enough in this case. That guard's long enough that I think Team Cooey can come down there. I don't know if they can tap it out, but they're maybe calling a corner freeze or a slate tap.
Mark Kennedy trying to just freeze onto that run and get shot rock frozen onto the corner of it.
Top 4. Line's good. You're freezing. Wait only. Dead freeze, guys. You got room.
No real line call until right there. And looks like he's gotten by the guard by quite a bit. And he's going to come down beside it instead of corner freezing it.
So right out of hand, Kevin communicated, we're not going for a tap, we need 4-foot weight here. He was reading the line to the sweepers and allowing them to make the best decision on where they were going to take that rock to get it to the best possible place. It did not work out fantastic. If it had been a little bit higher, it would have been a much better shot.
Så länge du vickar till linan så kommer han inte ha en dubbel. Det känner du för mest. Ja. Bort igenom.
So with perfect weight and perfect line,
Vi behöver få ut den här.
Oscar's calling for a little tap and a little inside roll behind the corner guard, which doubles Team Kui's problem.
So lots of ice there, so indicating Niklas Edin is not going to throw it hard. He's just going to kind of a little bump back weight, back line to hack. Sweepers are on it.
This is really close to the guard. There it is. By.
And he's by the guard. Does he have enough weight to get that rock out of the rings?
That is a lovely shot.
Not out of the rings, but it's lying third with Niklas Edin's team lying 2 behind the guard. What a beautiful shot.
It's a beautiful shot.
Look at that. Just papers that guard. Just got by it nicely. To get a little outside roll, that's an incredible amount of weight control.
So I've got a pretty good angle on this, and those rocks are virtually behind that corner guard. If you could see a little bit more peeking out the center line side, Kevin might have tried a pick double, but he is trying a run through.
So it's a run through triple. Trying to get rid of both those 2 in the rocks and the guard. And again, back to the earlier game, we're talking about the fact that you don't want to be running the other team's rocks, and you'd rather run your own rocks into the pack.
For
but
sure.
No opportunity here for that. So big weight hit.
No.
And just.
Well, that is the way that you usually see an error made on a run through. Probably 60 or 70% of run throughs are missed on an under curl rather than an over curl. Maybe upping the weight a little bit or releasing it a little bit outside. It did get rid of the guard, which is good because there's a double there, but definitely wanted to run that straight back.
Now they're looking at the opportunity. If they're going to leave a double, where do they want to make sure that their other zone is sitting so they can get their 2 out of this end? That double is kind of lined up for Kevin Kui right now, so it's do you guard it? Do you go to the side?
So again, the risk versus the reward. A perfect guard is a difficult shot, but if they make a perfect guard here and Kevin misses the run through again, it's a draw for 3. If they draw open and Kevin makes the double, it's just a shot for 2. So it's risk versus reward.
So they're going for the guard, taking a shot for their 3. Don't want it too tight. You don't want to leave an easier shot for Kevin Kui, who has now already thrown it once.
Exactly. You don't want the opposition throwing the same shot twice, especially Kevin Kui with an upweight multiple shot. It's something that is very much in his skill set.
So this is a really important shot for the sweepers to try and manipulate this rock down the ice. As you said earlier, to manage this stone to the right position. Wayne, you got a better call on the line. How's that line look?
The line is pretty much the same as the last one. It's a tiny bit tighter. So.
Can he see anything?
I like it.
No. Just going to play the run through again.
No hesitation.
Ed knows it's close.
I think Kevin is pretty happy to be able to repeat the shot that he just missed.
And he picks one of them off. Well, that's 50% better than the last one.
Yeah, for sure. And
at least he got rid of one of them.
You know, it's nice to have an opportunity to sweep a shot like that and at least have a chance to manage it. And they almost made it perfectly. It just curled a little bit at the last moment. But to get one of them out of there, that is good.
So Oscar Eriksson skipping for team Niklas Edin, drawing in here for his second point in the second end of this Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. These teams are playing, the winner takes home $18,000. Pretty incredible for a first time event. Biggest non-slam event for cash. And there it is.
2 points. Great support here in the building. A great big sign of recognition for a nice draw for two there. This curling community has been incredible in bringing this event to this small city of under 35,000 people. This is the biggest cash spiel on the World Curling Tour other than a slam event. Huge accomplishment by this local committee headed up by Kathy Jones, who's the club manager here in Penticton. She had an amazing committee of people who really understood how important it was to get a few things in a bonspiel right. And, you know, to hold an event of this magnitude, there's a few things that are critically important. And Penticton has really hit those out of the park. There's the first one of those is you need to have enough money to attract the biggest teams on the circuit. And they have the biggest cash pool of all of the club events. You have to have great ice so that if the teams come once, they'll come once for money, but they'll come back if the ice was good. And the ice maker here, Chris Jones, has done an amazing job with the ice here all week. It's been incredible. The curlers are really happy with it. And the third component of hosting an event such as this is you really need to get the top teams here for so many reasons. It attracts sponsors, it attracts the local volunteer community, it attracts the media, all of those things that you need to have to create that excellent event. And Penticton's been able to pull all three of those things together.
So we're seeing a little bit of a change now that Oscar has not got the hammer. He's versus Kevin Cooey. Kevin went in on his first one. Oscar's left at short center line guard. Kevin's responded with the corner guard, and Oscar's going to go with a second guard. He's not going to wrap it around. So he's putting a little pressure early on, going to challenge the boys. Let's see if they can't mix it up a little bit more.
Yeah, interesting, because if you don't get the perfect shot on your first one, it makes the call on the second one a little bit more complicated. I think that guard that went up first was maybe a little bit tight. If it had been a few feet shorter, they might have decided to go around. But of course, as mentioned earlier, Team Sweden's trying out different things. You know, they love to play against the top Canadian teams. They're rehearsing for the Olympics, and they're trying different plays that they want to test out. You know, maybe something different than what they normally play.
That's a little bit deep on that one. He wanted that guard a little bit longer.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
a young team, really young front end. Christopher Sundgren, just 28 and at lead, and Rasmus Rana, just 22. The youngest two guys out on that ice right now.
Well, the super interesting thing about this team is that Niklas Edin is a two-time world champion with completely different teams. He had his previous team that went to the Sochi Olympics and won a bronze medal. They won the 2013 World Curling Championship. Then his whole 3 members of the team retired. He picked up 3 young guys who came out of the World Junior environment and went right out and won another gold medal at the World Curling Championship. So a really incredible story for Niklas Edin, unbelievable curling athlete, and definitely one of the top teams right now. They are sitting at number 2 in the world rankings, going into the Pyeongchang Olympics in just a few months from now.
This isn't Edin's first trip to the Okanagan. He actually came out and pre-Vancouver Olympics trained with his team in Kelowna and spent a week there and enjoyed his time in Kelowna, and he's very much enjoyed his time here in the Okanagan, again in Penticton. It sounds like they've got some packing problems with trying to take home some wine. What a great shot. Little come around tap, roll behind the guard, and just pushes that rock through the rings. What a great position for
shot.
Niklas Edin's team to be in right now.
And just got on that rock in time as it was hitting that break point,
That's
just in
either
time.
of these, actually. That one.
So back to the teams enjoying the Okanagan. This Penticton community has been amazing in hosting these teams. They all say they want to come back, and that's everything that you could hope for when you host an event, that people leave saying that they really want to come back. They came for the money or they came for the competition, but they want to come back because of the special things that happened here.
Yep.
They did so much to go above and beyond here that all of the teams are saying this is the best event on the tour. And what a great compliment for this local committee.
Brent Lang making a run back on that run behind the guards, changing the position up a little bit for Oscar.
Well, that was a really great shot, because now there's just that one really tight shot there that is not too much of a threatening guard. But more than that, that corner guard is still in play. So Team Cooey still has lots to work with here with very minimal risk.
He's really tight to the guard on that one, and a little bit heavy. It looks like he's going to go back behind the tee line, which is not optimal. You don't want to leave backing for drive around too. But what a great event this is leading up to another massive event in women's curling. The Scotties coming here to Penticton in January of 2018. We're only a few short months away from that. And right next door, the absolutely incredible South Okanagan Event Center, which will be hosting the Scotties. Brent Lang trying the run back double.
Another
terrific shot.
Yeah, great couple of shots by Brent. Very, very nice. The crowd is recognizing that great shot. So yeah, the Scotties coming here to Penticton January 27th to February 4th. This is a really supportive curling community, and there are still opportunities to be a part of that event, either as a volunteer. Passes are for sale right now. This is a really great place to come for a little winter interlude and watch some wonderful curling. Day passes are going to be available next month, and it's going to be a great event. This is the first time that the Scottie will be expanded to the 16 teams, so not only will you get the best team from every province, that Team Canada And in addition, a top CKRS team. So much great curling ahead in the end of January in Penticton here.
So again, Sweden playing the come around. And he's just rubbed the guard. Niklas Edin's rubbed the guard and has rolled open. I think Kevin Cooey was just looking up there to see if that was splittable a little bit later on.
Yep, taking in the whole lay of the land and keeping different options open.
If you're wandered away from your TV set and you need to catch us, we are streaming live. You can search on YouTube at Shaw TV Okanagan on YouTube and watch the stream live. Let your friends know if they're at work and they want to take some time to watch a little bit of curling here. Thanks to Shaw TV Okanagan for presenting us today.
Yeah, there's so many great Shaw people here in the building. A lot of volunteers that work for Shaw. Guys out in the truck are doing an amazing job teaching us rookies how to do this stuff, Jock. Coaching us along. Thank you, Shaw, for bringing this great event to everybody to be able to watch at home and online.
So Oscar's looking for the hit and roll here. We're in the third end of play with Kevin Cooey having the hammer blast rock advantage in this third end, but he is trailing 2-1. And that was on the big steal he made in the first end when Oscar was trying to blank and hit and roll out, but instead touched the guard and gave up a steal of 1 to Cooey, but then responded by picking up 2 in the second end. And now Kevin Cooey has the last rock advantage and has a couple good guards in play. It looks like he's going to try and take advantage of those guards right now and hit that blue Sweden rock out and roll in behind cover with Mark Kennedy, the left-hander, throwing now. Well, I guess you're never former Olympian. Gold medalist Mark Kennedy.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Off. Off. Off.
Anticipating a big break there, but not getting it. Beautiful weight, just nice down, gentle weight, but it didn't come up for him at the end. I think there was a bit of a anticipation it would break hard, but it didn't. So that's giving Oscar a chance to make the exact same shot, the hit and roll in behind, and after having just seen Mark Kennedy throw it. And both of them being left-handed, the only two left-handers out in the ice, Oscar Eriksson and Mark Kennedy. So they see the ice from the right-hand hack instead of the left-hand hack, and it does make a bit of a difference when it comes to the way you throw it. Plus, throwing an in-turn versus an out-turn, a little bit different for a left-hander versus a right-hander.
It's always a benefit to be able to watch a number of rocks down the same path. It enables you to be able to judge the next one just a little bit better, anticipate those decisions and when to sweep for line and when to take a little further for maximum curl at the end.
Again, playing the quiet weight. You know, the big weight you see with the run backs disappears when it's so important for these rocks to stick around or to make a roll. So these guys drop their weight down. A lot of rotation on that one. And they're sweeping it hard. And just a nice little roll, peeking out the other side.
So nice shot. You can see most of that rock, about probably 2/3 to 3/4. The advantage for Kevin here is he can see the side of that rock, and the corner guard is over on that side of the ice. So if he hits pretty much what he can see, he's got a pretty good chance of rolling behind that corner guard.
Whoa. Hard.
it just ticks the guard. Brent Lang anticipated that the whole way down. He did not get off that rock, even though he was called off. Swept it the whole way coast to coast, and it still just rubs that guard.
Yeah, so there's the smart sweeper, because as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, that is the error that we have seen multiple times over the course of this championship, that the moment you get off those rocks that look like they're tracking a little bit straight, they'll make a quick move and then it's gone. Well, Brent has seen too many of those shots happen this weekend, and he was not going to get off that shot.
So I don't know how your Swedish is, Elaine, but it looks like they might be calling a split on that blue one to try and put the shooter behind one corner guard and the other one behind the other corner guard. Or are they just calling the cold draw in there?
Well, Jock, you're the one that learned Swedish this morning, so I'm sure you translated that correctly.
I think that's what the call might be on this one, is just a little rub. See if they can't split it up and not make it too easy. Again, what they're trying to do is what they did all morning against Mike McEwen, is make his shots as difficult as possible. So he's just trying to get in there. And if he can rub that one maybe over a little bit and push his own shooter in, looks like that might be the call, or it could be just a stone cold draw behind the corner. But he's trying to get that hammer advantage back by forcing Kevin Cooey to take one this end.
Yeah, these two top teams, ranked 3rd and 5th in the world, they know what has to happen with respect to the scoreboard in order to win this game. In 8 ends, they know where they need to be at every point in the game and how they anticipate they're going to get there. Every decision they make out there is based on how they want to score the points and when they want to score the points. So a force here would be beneficial for Team Edin for sure.
So it looks like they're just playing the cold draw, trying to wrap it around that guard. Sweepers were on it pretty quickly, but the line looks really good.
What is a cold draw, John?
You know. That's a really great question, Elaine. I'm not sure where that came from. We've just always used that.
Lovely
cold
shot.
draw, no bracking. There you go.
Yeah, nice shot.
Doesn't look like there's a double there, but I think there's an opportunity for... At least might be calling the double. He's going off the double. I'm not sure the shooter sticks around. He's not worried about the shooter sticking around, I guess. Just taking the basically where he wants to hit it. So I don't think he's gonna be light on this one.
I think he might be able to stay if he hits this just right.
The rock's fading out a little bit still.
That's not good. Oh.
Apparently it
I guess
is.
it's not so bad. Wow.
Well, that's a steal of 1.
I thought that went out, but let's take a look at the replay here.
It did not go out until Ben Hebert's foot caught it.
Yeah, just needed to curl up a little bit more. So that is a big turn of events.
That is a big point. So here we are at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. We just finished up the 3rd end with Niklas Edin's rink skipped by Oscar Eriksson, stealing 1 and taking a 3-1 lead over Kevin Cooey's Alberta squad. $66,000 have been played for all weekend long. This final is worth $18,000, with the runner-up going away with not too bad $12,000. Elaine. Niklas Edin's 7-0 rink against Kevin Cooey's 6-1 rink.
So these are 2 of the world-leading teams, as I mentioned, number 3 and number 5. So we know they are able to win despite situations. But at this point, we know that on the World Curling Tour, if a team is up 2 points without hammer after 3 ends, they have a 77.8% chance of winning that game. Jock.
Those are really good stats to have. But
Well,
you know what's fun, what is even more fun is that curling changes so quickly, and we know that we were watching the semifinals, and that at one point Kevin Cooey was trailing, and after 3 ends 3-1, and only had a 6% chance of winning, and here he is in the final.
Exactly.
So
And
that's the best part about curling is
these-
its statistics are awesome, but they sometimes don't always work.
So we also know these teams have played each other once before this game, this season. In the Masters Slam event, Cooey beat Edin 6-2. Cooey, Team Cooey plays around 100 games a year in a normal year. In an Olympic quadrennial, the final year leading into the Olympic trials, teams sometimes scale back a little bit, so they may not be playing quite as many games this season as they do in other seasons, but we know at this point they were 21-9 coming into today, so they are now 22-9, 22 wins and 9 losses. Team Edin typically play about 140 games a season, according to them, and they are right now at 32 wins and 14 losses this season.
Keep going for line, keep going. Whoa, whoa.
So we got a couple guards in play. We got one on the top 4 foot. Now we have a second rock frozen to it on the top 4 foot. Getting some rocks in play this end. We had in the other semifinal, again in the semifinal earlier today, we saw out of 16 rocks, we had 14 rocks in play, with 10 of them being in the 8 foot or 4 foot. It was pretty incredible end to watch.
And that was the first end.
And that was only the first end. And that took almost half an hour to play. So we're through the first 4 rocks of the end, so they can clear those guards out if they so inclined. And that's what Oscar Eriksson is looking at right now, whether to run that red corner guard in and take advantage of the fact that he's got a 3-1 lead, 2-point lead.
Kan ju sticka båda. Nej, kul.
This is Rasmus Rana going right now. He's the youngster on the ice today at only 22 years of age.
Nice shot. He wants to ensure that there's no backing behind that rock. He'll be able to get to that rock with less rocks in play.
Even with this one.
And he's going to be running it, if he has to, run his own rock back in. Again, back to the
Yeah.
running the opposition's rock versus running your own is a nice thing to have. Brett Lang being asked to throw up the corner guard.
I think he called back house.
Did he?
Or T-line.
T-line, sorry. That's the disadvantage of sitting back on the table.
You're going even with this one.
So it has to be even or deeper in order to prevent the double.
Well, you might as well go then. Well, it's going to be a natural if we're just
So they have so much respect for their opposition. They know if they leave those rocks a little tighter together like that, that they're going to play the run-through double, and that is demonstrating a lot of respect for your opposition. Whereas if it had been more even, it just would have been a run-through single.
Two of the best teams in the world, and obviously a lot of respect for each other. Worrying about a run-back, 10-foot run-back double.
Yeah, just like you played in your Tuesday night game, John.
Exactly the same. I think that was against your son, Cal. Oh. Almost a worst case scenario. Rubbed, the shooter rolls over for a corner guard, rubs the one on the top 4 foot over behind the corner guard, leaving the rings completely split. And you got to think a little bit of advantage Cooey right now.
Well, the funny thing is, Cooey wanted those rocks to be more even with each other, and now they are. Yeah, that was quite a turn of events there.
I don't see it drawing in anywhere good.
So he's going to put up a second corner guard right over top of his own.
Just right here. Know the spot.
And as Kevin just mentioned, yeah, of course he wants to try to score 3, but there's no place that he can put that shot in the house now and be safe against Team Edin making a double. So in effect, if he puts up a guard, he'll allow a certain amount of time to pass before he attempts to get that third rock in the house. He's going to protect this 2 for the time being until the house is in a better situation.
Where are you? Hard Benny. Hard Benny. Go. Go. Okay.
Watching the progress of our top teams, the teams that will be going into the trials in just a few weeks from now. You know, we're looking at how they're competing against each other, how their performance statistics are looking, as well as how they're doing against our international teams, which is a really big determining factor and allows us to kind of take the temperature of the competition environment and see where we're standing. So we're extremely pleased with how that's going. You know, in the recent slam events, we've seen more than half the teams getting through to the qualifying round being Canadian teams, whereas in some past slam events, our women's teams have been decreasing a little bit in those numbers, with the international teams getting so much stronger. So we're very confident, very positive about how the women's program is looking now, as well as the men's. We know that Canada is the strongest curling nation in men's curling. It has been for some time. Our women's playing field is a little bit more even and equal throughout the world, but our men are performing really well. Our top men in Canada, such as Team Cooey, Team McEwen, and some of the other teams, Brad Gushu and the other teams, are at the top of the circuit right now.
Stay with it, Mark.
They're at the top of their game and just making their last few little training adjustments leading into the trials coming up in Ottawa in a few weeks from now. There's one more big event coming up before the trials. It's a slam event in Sault Ste. Marie. It's about 10 days from now, I believe, coming up. It's the Boost National event in Sault Ste. Marie. It's a women's and a men's event, and that will be the last place where these teams will be able to get some competition experience in their last few games before they head to Ottawa for the Canadian curling trials.
So you've got Cooey with a rock in the top 12 and a centerline guard, and then you've got Oscar Eriksson putting up the corner guard and then wrapping one around. Kevin Cooey feeling that he wants to have a little more control over the situation, trying to clear that corner guard out and get the play back to the middle.
I don't. Yep. Hard.
And there he goes. Got rid of that corner guard, rolled the play back into the middle.
Came very close to catching a little piece of that blue rock in the house as it went by.
So we've got the pre-trials underway.
Starts tonight.
I know.
It's exciting.
It's probably already tonight in PEI.
It could be.
4.5 or 4 time zones away over there.
It could be. Yeah, as soon as we finish this exciting game, we'll start watching the scoreboards out in PEI to see which of our Canadian teams will be joining those 7 teams of each gender that are already through to the trials. 2 men's teams and 2 women's teams from the Road to the Roar in Summerside, PEI will proceed through that event and continue on just a very short time later in Ottawa with a chance to compete at the trials. It's a pretty exciting and amazing time for curling in Canada right now.
It's very exciting. It makes me think back 4 years ago when 2 teams that came out for the men's side, Jacobson and Cotter, and those are the 2 teams that ended up in the final playing for the chance to represent Canada. So it's exciting to watch those pre-trials. People think it's kind of, well, that's team number 8 and 9 in the berth, where it's really not. It's 2 very good teams that are going to have some momentum going into the trials and probably be really hungry for wins.
What do you like?
So that was a great shot.
What?
Got that rock off the
normal
center line in the house. Oh, here's a great replay. Just clip the side of it.
And gets again, Eriksson trying to get the play out to the wings, which he has done, and Cooey trying to get the play back to the middle, which he's been successful at doing. Let's see if he can get this rock out of the rings and roll back into the middle again.
Little extra benefit for Team Edin is that guard stuck around out there. It may come back into play later, even with that rock that was half buried behind it gone. They've still got a corner guard in play.
So again, going to play the hit and roll, try to roll to the wings. That rock isn't really a center guard, it's a bit more of a corner guard, which is what you want to do. I mean, that's the situation that most skips when they have the hammer. They're trying to keep the play away from the middle so if they get into trouble, they can draw into the wings or draw it out of the forefoot and try and score 2 by keeping your rocks out into the wings.
Yep. Whoa. Yep.
And a beautiful little roll.
This has definitely been a day of rolls being important. There's been many attempts at soft weight hit and rolls. Many of them made, and they're really great shots to watch. They are not easy. The hit and roll is one of the lower percentage shots in curling, and to see so many of them made is a real testament to the skill that's going on out here and the level of play that they're achieving in these final few games of this event.
That was a great camera angle on the replay. You can see those guys working hard. The sweepers are all in, putting all that pressure over the broom head. And that one gets by the guard by a little ways, and they're going to roll out.
Okay, good shot.
So we're starting from scratch, but we got a couple guards in play. And Oscar Eriksson going to immediately take advantage of that. It's a lot easier to draw into the position you want it in than trying to hit and roll to that position.
Absolutely, much more tolerance, many more factors that you're able to manipulate to get that rock to within a tolerant zone, whereas a hit and roll, it's such a small spot that you can hit. Very specific. This is a higher percentage shot. I'm sure they're happy to be able to play this right now.
Elaine, I'm going to take you back to those pre-trials for 2 seconds. I understand they've changed the format a little bit. It used to be a double knockout at the last Olympics. What's the format they're using now for the trials, or the pre-trials?
The pre-trials is divided into 2 round robins with half of the teams in each half of the round robins. And I think 3 teams coming out of each of the round robins, and then a kind of a playoff system from there.
Okay. So it's 2 pools.
2 pools.
2 pools, and then so those guys are getting a lot of games in. They're going to play.
Yeah, they are. Like 16 teams, they'll have 7 games. 7 game round robin.
I was speaking to Tyrell Griffith, who was on Team Cotter, or Team Morris, and he was mentioning that they only had to win 3 straight last time to make it to the Olympic trials, and this time they had quite a number of games to play, substantially more, which is in a way a good thing, A, for the curling fan, and B, if you're going to go all the way across the country from British Columbia to PEI in Summerside to play. So Mark Kennedy making a hit and stick there. I think he wanted a little roll behind cover, but
känns ju lite risky att runda.
So we got two pools. Good looking event. Some awesome Canadian teams. Two men's pools, two ladies pools. Back to the game. Looking for Niklas Edin to play a little hit and roll behind cover over on the side there. Again, it's the rolls have been really difficult to make today perfectly.
They're getting a lot of practice at them.
And there it goes, and a beautiful roll.
That's a beautiful shot.
I don't think you can get any more buried than that one.
Great shot. That's not easy.
No, it is not. And as tradition would have it, we're going to see a run back. Kevin Cooey, a run back specialist. And this one doesn't look quite as challenging as some of the run backs he's had to make. See that beautiful roll in behind on with Oscar Eriksson right there set up ready to sweep that thing behind the cover.
Yeah, that was a great shot. You need to make some big shots like that to give you yourself a chance to set up a 2-1 miss, and the 2 is in play. This is not an easy shot. He's got one shot to make it.
Great off.
I think he set that one out a little bit.
Again, a run through missed on the under curl, which is what we see most often. If that shot is not made, it's
so now it's a discussion on where to put this to split the house, because they know that Kevin Cooey can make doubles quite easily.
These rocks have to be a long way apart.
So they either want to be parallel or make it very steep for him to make that double.
So the very best way to score 2 points in a curling game is to be sitting 2 with no possible way for the opposition to get a double. That's what it comes ultimate
down to.
2.
And you got to think confidence-wise for Eriksson, after giving up a 3, to be in a situation right now to get a 2 has got to make him feeling a little bit better. They didn't have a great last end, and here they've manufactured a 2 quite nicely. Niklas Edin signaling to his sweeper, so everyone knows what the goal is here. Back here is okay. Up top is good. Don't leave the double.
Yeah, and they're not leaving it up to assumptions. They all know this. They all know where this rock has to be, but to confirm it, to verbalize it, to discuss it, get it out there one more time, I think it gives everybody that extra commitment and that extra focus to really make sure they get that rock to the right place.
Sweepers are off initially. A little bit of concern on the weight. Now the decision has to be made whether you go deep with it or you leave it high. So it looks like they're taking it back, and it's going all by itself.
Yeah, so that has been a difficult part of the ice to draw over to the sides. Surprisingly enough, you know, you wouldn't think it would be that hard to draw to the house over on the side there, but there seems to have been a little bit of a challenge, or a little bit of lack of confidence of exactly what's required out there. That was a 14.25 second draw from hog to hog. not swept at all. They watched that rock all the way down, and it went to just behind the tee line. So it's a good shot.
I'll see what they like.
But it showed a lot of respect for Kevin Cooey's team. Obviously, very concerned about leaving a double in anywhere. And now Kevin Cooey analyzing it and saying, okay, how do I make that double? And if I don't, what am I going to do with this rock to not give up two? Kevin asking his team, what do they like? Looks like the decision's made.
Yep.
I like that they're not rushing through this. This is a big shot. They're taking their time and deciding how they're going to make it.
And he's going for the thin double.
Hard!
And not quite thin enough. Such a chance you take. You know, you've got to hit a paper thin to try and make that double. And if you are just a shade wide, you get nothing and give up a three.
Yeah, that was not an easy double. All the respect the opposition gave to Kevin, kind of assuming that he was going to make a double wherever it was. It's a really delicate line call on this ice as well, because we've seen that rock go from running straight to making a jump and having to anticipate when that's going to happen, and didn't quite get to that point on, in this case, a little bit of an undercurl.
So here we are in the fifth end. Oscar Eriksson drawing for a second. See if he can take a 5-4 lead. Sweepers are on it right away. He just has to get it in the rings anywhere. Sweepers look pretty confident with this one, as they walk this one down and firmly plant it in the 4-foot. So after 5 complete, we've got Niklas Edin's team skipped by Oscar Eriksson, taking a 5-4 lead over Kevin Cooey's Alberta squad here at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. $18,000 on the line for the winner, $12,000 for the runner-up. It's been an amazing game from a field of 24 teams. Here we are down to the final 2, with Niklas Edin's rink at 7-0, already destined for their Olympics in Pyeongchang, and Kevin Cooey's 6-1 squad on their way to the Olympic trials. And it's just been a great matchup.
And we're here at the Penticton Curling Club. It's been a pleasure to be here all weekend. What a great little place this is. The Penticton Curling Club is a recreation and entertainment district. There's casinos, there's restaurants, there's concert and convention center right in this parking lot, all within you know, a stone's throw of each other. There's 3 arenas and a community center. There's many hotels within walking distance. It's a great little community with so much to do, and this Penticton Curling Club is a very special place. The volunteers are incredible. The Penticton Curling Club increased their membership this year by 20%, and that's really a great accomplishment. It's not easy in this day and age for curling clubs to increase their membership, as you well know, Jock.
Yes. You know what? The Okanagan is a hotbed of curling, and you know it's the club in Penticton has got some good solid roots here, and some great people have stepped up. They've got a new club manager, a new ice maker, and a great board of directors working super hard here and getting great exposure and having 2 amazing events with this, the Ashley Home Store Classic, first annual event, $66,000 being given away, as well as being hosting the Scotties, the best curlers in Canada, women's curlers in Canada, coming in at the end of January. And so Penticton is just doing everything they can to showcase our sport and get people into the curling club.
Yeah, so if anybody in the Penticton area wants to give curling a try, there are a lot of Learn to Curl clinics here at the Penticton Curling Club. Most Sundays they have clinics from 1 to 3, so you can just give the curling club a call, and Kathy Jones and her amazing team here will help you out. There's also some great fun spiels coming up. There's a Penticton Fun Spiel on Saturday, November 25th, and the Penticton Ladies Bond Spiel, December 1st to 3rd. Geez, these guys don't take a break, do they?
No
They
kidding.
just are hosting all these things. They've got these people with all this energy and skill and talent at being able to host these events.
So
Linjen är bra.
Kevin Cooey taking advantage of the free guard zone, dropping a corner guard in after Oscar Peterson. Oscar Peterson, there I go again. Too much jazz music in my head. Oscar Eriksson calling a rock in the top of the house and then putting a guard on top of it. Here we are early in the 6th end of this 8-end game, 8-end final. $18,000 in the line. They gave away $66,000 over the weekend.
Room.
That's a huge amount of money for a spiel like this. Second only to the slam events, which...
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Wait only, though. Wait only, though.
And we want to make sure we reach out and say thank you to Shaw TV Okanagan. If you can't watch this game live on Shaw TV, you can go and check it out on YouTube at Shaw TV Okanagan. It's a little bump and roll there, and I don't think they wanted to roll quite open like that. Giving team Edin a chance to get better positioning.
This has been a really interesting game. With the lead going back and forth, it's really great to have that kind of a game. Like often a team will pull ahead and kind of remain ahead the whole game, and the opposition will be trying to catch up. But this has been a real interesting situation of kind of cat and mouse.
Topp 12, topp 8, tappa lite.
I want to make sure we thank the volunteers and the staff over at Shaw TV. They've got a couple brand new cameras, which I was just watching that are robotic cameras over top of the sheets of ice, and they're just doing an incredible job with the cameraman in the truck controlling those. And there it is. You can see them as they pan down the sheet of the ice with the overhead remote camera. And you get such a great angle.
Försök få lite insida då. Kalla. Det blir bra. Det blir bra. Inte för mycket. Bra. Ja, lira alle. Ja, bra. Ja.
I don't like whipping it, but I don't mind playing. You catch either of these,
Sida som möjligt om den duttar.
as long as you're not real thin. What? Yeah. Not right now, but what do you want to do? Yeah.
It's amazing to look down the ice lane at the experience on Team Cooey and how many world champions, Olympic champions on this team. How many medals that they have.
We know pretty much what it'll do out here.
It is incredible how this team came together from a number of teams that were already world champions and Olympic gold medalists, and truly this is one of the most experienced teams in the world with so much skill at every position. They are just not even 2 years out from being world men's curling champions in 2016. In their second year of curling together.
You got room, I think.
Team Cooey definitely one of our best in Canada.
Line's good.
So he's just playing a little come around, going all the way out there.
Oh, then.
And again, this is Canadian size sheet, not Olympic size sheet or world size. You don't quite as far to go out. You don't have that extra foot out in the wings.
Get a piece of the ice. Go, go, go.
And really interesting how they went from Kevin originally calling some sort of a run through to catch either of those blue rocks on the way by, to Brent suggesting the come around as an alternative. And this team is really open and democratic with each other, obviously willing to listen to the different opinions, because Brent's suggestion was embraced and very close to being made perfect, about a foot
Just a shade
short,
but you're out in that fresh ice. You don't know what it's going to do out there, and but still a good shot, because that rock may come into play later.
Behöver ändå en del fart för att få ut den. Kanske den. Tar du den cleant bara.
So Oscar looking at clearing out that rock. If he can't make it through the port and get that red one and roll to the middle, then at least it blows the open a bit.
Vill spela på outen eller innan.
Looks like it might be a run back here, Elaine.
The
intern run back on that red.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Well, that was a lot of granite moved, and he's going to get that one right out of the rings. What an incredible shot.
Wow.
That changed absolutely everything.
Everything about this end.
2, 3, 4 rocks in motion all at the same time. What an incredible shot. I think they call that a triple.
Run through.
A double run through,
and
sure.
to play that run through, to curl across the face of it, to go backwards into the house is, what a fun shot that was to watch.
And then the best part's when they call those.
Correctly.
How's that look?
Look at that shot. I love the overhead camera. That's just absolutely brilliant.
What a great shot. And that rock is just rolling and rolling.
And 4 rocks removed from play.
Right off. Stay with.
Just change the complexion of this end altogether.
Hard. Hard, Benny. Go. Shot.
And I know this dates me a bit, but looking back at just 8 short years ago, when Ben Ebert and Mark Kennedy were going to become Canada's Olympic team, and who did they defeat in the Canadian finals but Brent Langston? So, and now they're teammates again because they defeated.
Only in our sport.
I know, and now they're teammates.
You gotta love curling.
I know, that's exactly it.
Dig. Oh,
yeah, I am.
I'm at. Yep.
Looking for a little hit and roll here.
Whoa. I'm at it. Whoa.
And he's trying to get it away over to the side.
Hit the hard.
Don't want to make that roll behind that guard too easy for Kevin Cooey.
Shouldn't move you a lot. What do you see in good boards?
So, Elaine, have you been over to Pyeongchang to check out the venue for the Olympic curling?
Yeah, we've been over there quite a few times. The very first time I was in that arena was way back in 2009 when Team Jennifer Jones was Team Canada, and we played the Women's World Curling Championship in that same building. It looks a lot different now. It's been completely remodeled.
Mark Kennedy looked like he was a little inside on that, swept it most of the way, and
good toss.
Kevin Cooey trying to roll it over to the side. So again, make it difficult for Oscar Eriksson to roll in behind that cover, and if he does, he'll be behind the T-line.
Yeah, and our most recent trip over to Pyeongchang was for the World Junior Curling Championship last February, and that was the test event for the 2018 Curling Olympic Games, and it was great. It's a beautiful setup. A lot of the buildings around in a circle, a little bit like Sochi. The arena for curling looks fantastic.
How many seats are they going to have in Pyeongchang for the curling event?
I think it's around 5,000.
And what's really exciting this year at the Olympics is the first ever mixed double. So that's going to really add some more use to the venue, and it's going to give another opportunity for medaling.
Yeah, the big thing for curling in Canada is that previously to this we had a men's Olympic medal, a women's Olympic medal, and a Paralympic medal up for grabs, and now we've got one whole additional medal with the mixed doubles, which is a great challenge and opportunity to our funding model in Canada. The more medals we get, the more opportunity we have to bring in funding for high performance and thereby make the whole machine run even stronger in Canada, because the high performance experiences and television and so on are so closely tied to our curling club system in Canada and how the whole sport works together.
Now, will they be using the players from the men's team and the ladies team to play at the mixed doubles?
No, the Canadian team has determined that that would be too demanding to have those mixed doubles players doing all that sweeping and running and back and forth, which is completely different from the four-person game just before the four-person curling event. So it has been determined that that is not the way that Canada should go. They will be different teams.
So there will be a Team Canada mixed doubles declared separately from the men's and ladies.
That's right. So the Olympic trials are in December. The mixed doubles are in early January. So we expect that many of the athletes that are not successful at the Olympic trials, they get another shot at being an Olympian at the mixed doubles just a few short weeks later. Many of our trials competitors have also qualified for the mixed doubles trials. And that was a great shot here. There was an opportunity with that center guard. One of the opposition rocks was in play, and Team Cooey ignored it and went around the center guard. A little bit of risk versus reward. Mark Kennedy made an amazing come around, a really great biting the top of the button, completely buried. This run through is not an easy shot.
So Oscar was looking at one of two shots, either just a freeze to kind of concede the 1 point, or to play that run back and hopefully stick it.
I think if it was his second shot, he might consider the latter option. He's got 2 runs at this point.
Whoa, whoa.
Looks like he's out a little bit. The first call on sweeping is no. And he takes out his own rock, but he does roll the guard away. And as you said before, this seems to be a little bit of a trend here. You know, overestimating the amount of curl and missing it.
Under curl.
Missing it on the under curl. Yeah. No sweeping call at all on that one. So Kevin Cooey's got to work out his math and figure out how he's going to get 2 and not leave a double.
Even in this spot, it's so straight. Yeah.
Not leave a double, much like Team Niklas Edin did in the last, and try to make sure they do not leave a double for these 2 very good throwing teams.
Yeah. Even them up. Little less smart. So it's the same as that draw for 3 that I was a little.
So he's going to draw out to the wings with the out turn. And it looks like they're going to try and call it as parallel as possible.
T-line.
Trying not to leave the double.
Just dead T-line.
Sweepers are on and off, so obviously he's pretty close. And you can't get much closer than that.
So it's a perfect shot. 14.5 seconds from hog to hog. Just like in the previous end that we were looking at this kind of a similar situation.
There looks like there's a tiniest bit of separation. I want to say about 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches. So he's going to attempt to the double. It's difficult. It's flat. He's going to have to throw it extremely hard. And the idea being that he catches as much of the rock as possible, but still gets the roll to make it as flat a roll as possible. The thinner you hit the rock, the steeper the roll is.
It's a tough double, and you usually see a lot of weight on this kind of shot.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those hit and miss. You're kind of surrendering the fact that you're going to give up 2 if you don't make the double, or if you. So you really got to throw it perfect. It is curling hard, this rock. And he just misses the backside of the double.
That was a tough double. It was very flat. We know that the very best way to score 2 is to have 2 rocks in the house of your own color, that there is no possible double. And that one was a very tough double. So great way to set up this 2-point score for Kevin Cooey. Needs to get this shot into the house anywhere to score 2 points and pull ahead by 1.
quite the incredible skill set to have, is the ability to throw a 6-second peel and then turn around and throw a perfect draw into the rings.
Absolutely.
No, not a lot of it.
Kevin just threw this shot. Ooh. So this has a little more weight than the last one, but he anticipated
he's
that.
given himself some backing to bounce off of. And after 6 complete, Kevin Cooey taking a 6-5 lead over Niklas Edin's squad, skipped by Oscar Eriksson at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. Winner taking home $18,000 here in Penticton, with the runner-up going away with $12,000. And a little momentum, with Niklas Edin's heading off to the Europeans in just over a week, and Kevin Cooey's squad heading to the Olympic trials in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and the folks here in Penticton at the Curling Club want to give a special thanks to the Penticton Mayor, Andrew Jacobite, and Councillor Judy Santes for dropping by and supporting the club. The Penticton City Council has been amazing. The City of Penticton has been a huge supporter of the Penticton Curling Club and of this event. So thanks so much for your support and coming by.
And you got to think that having the support of the city, especially when it comes to hosting events, not just like this one, but like the Scotties coming up here at the end of January, bringing a National Women's Curling Championship takes not just the curling club, but the entire community to get involved. They've got an amazing venue. They've obviously got some great volunteers. And most importantly, they've probably got some awesome sponsorship and support from local businesses.
Yeah, another couple companies that we should mention. Media is huge, and we've talked about the great support from Shaw Television, Okanagan. There's been a few others, Western News, Castanet, and the Penticton Herald have been huge supporters of this event. And you know, getting the word out, it's the multiple angles that you go at, the support of this kind of an event. You need to get the great teams in here, therefore you have a great story to tell, therefore the media gets engaged, therefore the people get engaged. So it's a real synergy that gets created from these type of events. And I really hope that the volunteers here in Penticton are feeling the love from the people here, the competitors, and everybody that's come here, because it's been a fantastic event. All of these, or many of these volunteers, not only put their time into this event, but they're also going to be volunteering at the Scotty, which is a much longer event. So they're putting a huge amount into this curling community, and so a very special thank you to them. I hope they are really feeling the appreciation from the curlers, who are clearly telling us that this has been the best event on the tour. There are so many special things happening at this event that they were not expecting, and they've all declared that they definitely want to come back next year. So we're hoping for the same kind of support from everybody that made this event such a success, that we can repeat it again next year.
Just a quick recap on how we got here. Kevin Cooey defeating Peter de Cruz 8-6 in the other semi-final. Our main final this morning, what we were watching, was Mike McEwen going down in an extra end to Niklas Edin's squad 5-4. And that sets us up after a long 5 days of curling. 24 teams down to 2 teams right here.
T-line.
Incredible having eight Okanagan or BC rinks in this event, and we're down to the last 2 with the best records, vying for $18,000. We're in the 7th end of an 8-end game, with Kevin Cooey leading by 1, and Niklas Edin's squad having the hammer.
You got no line. No line.
So a really interesting thing about this game is we've seen multiple points, and that is not easy to accomplish with this level of team, the skill of these 2 teams, Team Cooey and Team Edin. They are the, you know, amongst the top handful of teams in the world, and we've seen 2 deuces scored and 1 3-point scored. Oh, 3 deuces. So those are hard-fought points. Really difficult to get those points on the board. I don't know. It's still anybody's game, I think, because of the number of 2s we've had in the last few ends. It's kind of the trend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Den här är precis full
it's a tough situation for both teams. You know, if you do screw your two, you're one up without the hammer, and or do you blanket and carry it over? It's with 2 ends left to play, it's anybody's game, and it's been they were fun semifinals to watch because it was just like that going into both semifinals. So we got lots of rocks in play right now. All 3 of the first stones are in play, and Oscar Eriksson opting to go around that center guard now.
Hårt linje. Fortfarande linje.
Beautiful shot. Top 4 foot, partially buried. And now the angle setting up comes as Kevin Cooey tries to freeze.
So Team Cooey will be, or Team Edin will be well aware of their scoreboard situation, success around that situation here in the 7th end. Do they want to blank or do they want to score 2? They will know from masses of analysis that they'll know how many games they've won and lost in the 2 scoreboard situations coming home, either 1 up without or 1 down with. And so they will be doing their best to position themselves into that situation that they know is favorable to them. And so it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
Looks like a little excess weight there, and it just tracked. And not a result Cooey was looking for as he's left his rock open. But the good news is he did push that blue stone, that blue Edin stone behind the tee line.
Yes, and at this point you would be saying halfway through this end there's quite a few rocks in play, and it does not look like it's heading to a blank, but we are smarter than that with these teams
out here.
With these 2
teams, absolutely. Almost no double is unmakeable.
Yeah, a couple doubles and we're back to a blank.
That's Rasmus Rana throwing, 22-year-old Rasmus. And Niklas Edin sweeping, not his normal position, but for this event they've changed it up a little bit just to try something new.
Earlier in the semifinal, we talked about what great condition Niklas Edin would be in, equal to all of the team members on this Swedish national team. They all have a very demanding workout schedule in all areas of performance, but particularly physical training. And Niklas would be right alongside them doing almost exactly the same training as them. It may be a little bit more tailored specifically to a skip's requirements of maybe standing a little bit more and very short bursts of sweeping behind the tee line. But obviously he has done his work. He's out there, he's swept every game, and very well. He's a great brusher, great line judger, so it's like they haven't missed a beat.
Yeah,
no, I'm very interesting that Niklas at 32 is the old man of the team, yet he would be the youngest over on the other squad, with Benny Hebert being the youngest at 34 over on the Cooey rink. And there, I think I saw some high fives from Niklas. I think he likes to see these guys having to think and take their time to discuss what to do here. I think he feels pretty comfortable making them talk out second stones.
Yeah, that's not. Or else you're throwing a gun, losing your shooter.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jock. It's very rewarding to see that you've put the other team in a position where they really need to put some thought into it. Of course, Team Cooey isn't feeling that way, but it does give Team Edin a little bit of a boost. And
they're playing, both teams are playing really well, and it definitely is going to be made and broken on strategy here.
Hit this, maybe get rid of every name.
And execution.
A little bit.
To me, I like that. I don't hate that. You were about back 4. It's about the same weight. Yeah, same weight.
So it's still just Brent Lang the second. It's just his still his shot's his second shot. There's still lots of end to go here in the 7th.
Looks like they're calling just a little tap back, maybe a little roll behind cover.
No. Clean.
Wait, looks close.
Oh, off. Off the line. Yep.
Just made a jump there.
That did make a big jump and just nicks the guard. Wow, that did not look like a natural curl there. It looked like it absolutely caught something.
Do you think so?
It looked like
I just can't help but think that.
well, let's have a look at the replay. It looks like it just might have. It jumped really quickly. I can't see. Maybe the overhead would be a little better shot on that, but it definitely looked like it took a little jump there.
Well, I'm thinking back to the shot that Brent Length swept all the way through that break when the line callers were calling him off and he wouldn't get off, and thinking that if he had been sweeping that rock, he may have stayed on that.
That's right.
And I've throughout the weekend seen quite a few of that kind of error made where they just got off for a moment and it jumped a little and then it's too late.
Let's change the end quite a bit. Now they're looking at making sure that they can't hit and roll into that into those two rocks that are buried behind the blue or behind the red center.
Again, we're only halfway through this end. There's lots of rocks to come.
Yeah, if you look at the overhead here, you can see kind of that in-off that's potential coming in off that red one in behind to get themselves out of a bit of trouble. And I think Niklas is suggesting that maybe just get rid of that rock. And then see what Kevin Cooey does to respond to that. So we're still at second stones here with Niklas Edin's team skipped by Oscar Eriksson having the hammer, but Kevin Cooey with a 6-5 lead.
Yep. Forward. Okay.
Cleaning everything out off the side there, so there's nothing to play in off of.
Exactly as called.
I think it'll run for your nice.
So it sounds like Kevin Cooey's, they've already discussed it. Shot's been called, and they're going to play the run back. The run back double. And as I said earlier, you always want to be running your own rocks back. You don't want to be running the opposition rocks back. So if he does stick this one, he'll be lying one buried when it's all done, or lying two.
Whoa.
Didn't come up for him. No sweep on it at all.
Okay.
Yep.
Those run-throughs have been pretty tough today. I wish we'd kept count so we'd know how many were made. I'm going to guess 20%.
I think you'd be right, and that's kind of abnormal for these two teams. Normally, they're really proficient at the dead straight run backs.
I would agree. I would say it would be normally more towards at least 70% that these two teams will be making those shots.
Pickar vi hit så är det ingen trippel, men pickar du dit så är det en trippel.
So what Oscar's saying is make sure you make this hit. Do not roll here for the triple. That's my Swedish kicking in again.
Expert.
So he wants to make sure he gets that roll and doesn't leave a triple anywhere. if he sticks it right there, I think he's probably pretty good. Just don't roll towards the middle with the shooter.
Borde curla en del mitt på banan, sen kanske gå rakare I slutet från hogg och in. Vilken sten utåt är bra också.
Nice quiet wait.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Kind of lends to how important it is to stick around with this rock.
Rent. Lite utåt.
Very nice.
Same weight.
The indication he wants to hit this next one on the nose.
Yeah, so
He stuck around with that, as you can see on the hit on the replay.
The opportunity for 2 is getting smaller here. There's only 3 red rocks to come, and not really anything set up. So probably moving more towards a blank at this point, unless they get a really great roll behind that little red corner guard over there at some point.
Hard.
More important is getting those 2 rocks off the forefoot.
But Niklas Edin has the hammer here. So,
so
he's going to be playing, Oscar's going to be playing the hit and roll to the wings to try and split that. You know, that's the first one this game, so that's in 2 games, Elaine, that's pretty good. So Oscar's calling the little hit and roll again, does not want to leave that double, so wants to keep it fairly flat. So he's actually calling a fair bit of weight, I believe. Or is he just drawing? No, he's got a little bit of weight he's called on it.
I like the weight he's throwing with these hit and rolls.
And that's fairly flat, but still I think there may be a double there.
Put him behind the corner and
let's have a look at that.
yeah, I'm just
Sweeper just stayed off it. He was hoping it would curl up and maybe get a bit of a roll away. I think that's a double with the way Kevin Cooey throws that. I think that's a fairly simple double for him.
If I can get away with definitely less than half, Just inside edge? Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big shot here. If he doesn't, he's going to give up that 2. He's got to make this double here. And he's got to get about half that stone.
Yes! Whoa!
And he is all over it. You do not want to leave that shot for Kevin Cooey very often, and that's why.
Especially at this point of the game, knowing that force or a blank is on the line here, and that is going to put Team Cooey in a very positive position going into the last end.
Det är jävligt viktigt att ligga kvar ändå. Chappar vi så måste han göra en lång vikt. 11. Försöka vicka lite åt Grippas håll, men det är jävligt viktigt att bara ligga kvar.
So he's playing hard for the roll, it looks like. Oscar's going to throw a little bit of a down weight, but he's trying to catch half or less and try and get the roll behind the corner guard. That's a lot of ice.
Yeah.
So I got to be thinking he's really going to work hard to try and get that roll over there to get his deuce.
Yep. Whoa. Whoa.
He was called off quickly. Sweepers were called off. Lots of rotation on there. There it goes. Starting to take off.
Yeah, it looks.
No call on the sweep. I'm surprised that they
call it aggressive.
So Kevin says call it aggressive. He, if at all possible, wants to force a point to be taken here.
Like good control-ish. Right on the other inside. This Benny's different. Well, I like it.
Kevin knows that of all the possible situations that he can be faced with in the 8th end, that his best chance of winning this game will be tied with hammer. That will be his first choice, and if that is not possible, then he would want to be one up without.
And if things don't change here, that's what exactly what he's going to be. Oscar will be playing for the blank in this end, if he can.
Clean.
And there it starts
Yep,
to go.
yep.
It's coming off the line.
Go! Off!
Not enough curl on that one.
Looked like it was going to make that little move, and it's been so difficult to just catch that sweep right at the right moment. They just jumped it a little bit too soon, anticipating it was going to curl a little bit, and it just straightened it up slightly. So we know of the 4 potential no control scoreboard situations going into an 8th end. That is the best situation to be in is tied with hammer. And this is statistical analysis of many thousands of curling games. And one up without is the second best situation. One down with is the third best situation, and the worst of all is tied without. So,
well, there you have it. Blank end there by Oscar Eriksson, who is skipping the Niklas Edin rink this tournament. Kevin Koe goes into the final end of this 8-end game, leading 6-5 without the hammer at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. Again, this is an 8-end game. $18,000 on the line for the winner of this event.
And it takes they're making these come rounds, those corners look easy. Right, they make one run back. I like it. They don't have to be. Let's get the first one 2/3. I like it.
Team Koe chatting about their strategy for this last end. This is a situation they play in many times.
You okay with doubles?
A little bit of a roar from the crowd here in Penticton.
As they announce the 50-50 winner.
The ever popular 50-50 winner.
I think the 50-50 winner probably just got themselves about 400 friends that are going to go line up at the bar with them.
Yeah, Jock, I don't think you won that one because
it wasn't me.
Because there's people cheering, and
yeah,
you haven't brought out your tickets yet.
No. All right, this is going to be an interesting last end with Kevin Koe not having the hammer but having a 1-point lead. This is something they practice all the time.
So many teams will have
just Brent. Keep going, Brent.
A whole record of exactly how they play this end. Whether their first choice would be to steal a point, or whether their first choice would be to play it fairly safe, give up the 1 point, and go to the extra end. Most teams now will play a guard, take a reasonable chance at trying to make it difficult for the opposition to score without taking on too much risk. Some teams will clearly play it a little bit more wide open and hope for the blank.
So Oscar Eriksson is asking
not the blank,
his lead,
the force.
The force. The blank would be really good.
Getting tired.
Christopher Sundgren trying to play the corner guard there and make it parallel so there's no double. Beautifully done. Kevin Koe going with the, it looks like maybe the attitude to get a steal in there. Going with the another guard so he can wrap one around after. This is going to be an interesting end. We're going to have lots of rocks in play.
Hard, Brent. Where are you at? Yeah, you got to go. Okay. Yeah, I think you want to get to center anyways. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be so high. Go. Right up, right up, right up.
All right, Oscar's pausing now. He was not, I don't think he was anticipating all these guards. So he's going to wrap around first, try to get to the top of the 4 foot ahead. Not going with the second corner guard.
Lite vid om något. Okej linje, bra linje. Helt era. Okej. Kommer nu, kommer.
Trying to console the zone by getting in there first. Take the path away from Cooey. Top 4, beautiful shot. Buried behind those 2 center guards. Now Kevin Cooey can start peeling if he so chooses.
Good to hear, eh?
And he's going to call the freeze.
It's going to be an interesting end.
Room, wait only.
Don't want to. Wait pretty close.
Wait only, light. Yep. No, light's good. Hard. Hard line.
Oh, he's got it right by the, just
Hard,
past
line.
that guard.
Hard
It's going to
line.
be deep enough.
Hard, right up. Shot.
Beautiful shot, great weight. Lined up perfectly if they want to play a run back onto it.
So some really great placement by Team Cooey there in 3 calls. A tighter guard, a longer guard, and a perfect come around freeze. Those are the kind of shots you need to make to finish off this end in the manner that you choose. He's obviously thought a lot about how he's going to finish this game, and so far things are going really well for them.
Now Oscar's trying to change the angles a little bit by coming in and corner freezing onto that rock that Brent Lang just threw.
Fart. Ja, lite tight. Ja, tight. Hårt. Kan dutta med den här linjen. Hårt.
As he got it by the guard, he is just by that first guard, and he's just coming around the second guard. His line is still good. Oh, what a great shot. Completely changing the angles. Exactly what he needed to do was change those angles up so that Kevin Cooey didn't have that easy run back.
Something like that. And these are all going. You could play that, but it's a little early, I think. Just short. Just either. Later.
So Kevin Cooey anticipating that there'll be a couple of run backs in the very near future as he's trying to get the angles all right on his side.
Hard line. Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Get it by hard.
Oh, and it rubs off that guard.
Okay, Brent.
Changes things up a little bit. A lot of thinking going on whether they play the double at this opportunity now.
vicka undan där då.
And then look where their shooter ends
Få en
up.
till poängsten, potentiellt. Ja, han kommer ju fortsätta försöka lägga den där eller här. Ja, det är det, eller vicka in i det, bara dutta det där lite grann. Då ligger den så, men däremot så är den så gömd så han kan ju inte riktigt slå på det. Okay. Men då kommer två blåa ligga kvar och en röd.
Looks like all the teams are involved in the strategy here. There's 6 guys standing out talking strategy right now. Ben Hebert and Brent Lang listening in. And I'm sure their Swedish is as good as mine.
Jag gillar också den. Kör den.
And it looks like the question is whether to just freeze down to it, set up their own angles, or whether to play the double now, get an opportunity to lie 3 and make that double.
11. 11.
It looks like he might be calling just a hit and roll. Hit and roll behind that corner guard. Get the play away from that center. Give him a chance to make a play later on that red one if he needs to. But not leave it there for Kevin Cooey to play into the rings.
Yeah, just trying to take a little bit of control of that top part of the house that's going to leave some options open.
Yep. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, what a beautiful shot. Nice quiet weight. Just push that rock just through the rings. Rolls the shooter in behind the corner guard. So again, Cooey is leading in this final end 6-5, but without the hammer. Niklas Edin's team, skipped by Oscar Eriksson all tournament long, has the hammer and is looking to get at least 2 for the win.
Yes? Why, so you think you might be able to have both?
Listen and hear what they're thinking about here.
Well, you're coming off. I'm thinking he'll guard that because he won't let us come off that.
If you do this, are you trying to get track?
No. That one is where he can't afford to. Yeah, you're not trying to kill that one because he can't afford to leave us that.
In a perfect throw that you bump it over a little bit, and you might be able to use it for the ultimate comeback.
Yeah, I don't think you can throw it hard, Mark, because if you that blue one is actually. I just see it as a normal weight, little high side shot.
Sounds like they're trying to peel off that corner guard so they can leave the angle on the other blue one into the one on the 4-foot.
Yeah, control it. Yeah.
Very interesting call.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that?
Not at all worried that their line shot already. He's just trying to set himself up. He's thinking 4 shots ahead.
Yep. Hard, Benny. Gotta go hard. Whoa. Stay with it. Whoa.
And off.
Great shot.
So this opened up 2 shots for Team Cooey. The in-off on that blue rock that's just been exposed on the side there, and the red rock has moved over and given them a little bit of an opportunity maybe to make a play on the red guard.
Yeah, well,
He's got at least 2 shots available to him.
So Edin's got to be looking at whether they get rid of those red guards, or they use those red guards to their advantage and see if they can't tuck a second one around. What an interesting end. Not exactly a textbook way to play this end out.
Särskilt om vi drar hit också, då har han ju ännu större träffbild. Det andra alternativet är att dra en limma runt den här.
Second, Rasmus Rana's looking at the one that the Kui squad left open on the side. They're playing it before they can, and maybe rolling in and popping that red one out the side door.
Slår vi där nu så spelar han i den ändå. Va? Lägga en corner. Då har vi den helgardad. Stänger vår egen dragning där.
Elaine, if they run that red one back, if Kui runs that red one back, is he going to be shot when he's done?
Yes.
Lägga garden då. Få se.
In shot selection and some great shots being made. It's
försöka flytta den lite eller?
Did Oscar just call a little tap back on it now? He's tightened up the ice compared to what Mark Kennedy just threw.
So he only has to move that rock about a foot to be first and second. And if he rolls a little bit, he's changing Kevin's shot. Kevin wouldn't be able to come down and freeze on it. He would have to tap and roll back to the center line.
But now we're going to see a little bit of a difference because you've got Niklas Edin throwing with an in-turn, with Mark Kennedy left-hander threw with an out-turn on this, so we're going to get a little more curl.
They're all over that today, Joe.
I know, I'm sorry. It just, I think, does make a bit of a difference.
Very close to the guard here. Very, very close. And
my goodness.
A little bit of
the weight seemed really good. But a little rub, it's changed things up a fair bit because now that run back up front's not there. The angles are different.
But the hit and roll is there.
That's right. And to be lying 2 buried. That looks like a double to maybe even be lying 3 buried.
Well, the important thing would be to not leave a double by hitting that blue rock and kind of sitting close to that same position. He's really got to move.
No, you're better.
His shooter.
Yeah, my other thought was if I just do that. You know, I don't even know what's better. Best, probably to make it. In-turn.
And that's what he's saying right now is whether he hits and rolls and just stays there, or it makes the double.
No, but
and stays there.
But you're right though. If I do that versus this, it's not.
Well, the difference I think would be
make sure the double.
If he makes the double, he may leave a freeze on the back rock.
Yep.
It's fairly flat. You got to think maybe the shooter is going to squirt back a little bit behind the tee, or at least to the tee. But hard to say. It's.
I think I could run on the gimme just inside the middle of the rock. Or do you like even a little less? Okay. Yeah, I like it. You're going for about 3/4, right?
There you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're playing this to run.
So it looks like they're putting the broom down almost in the middle of the rock. And he said he's going to try and catch 3/4 of it. So he's not going to try the double. He's just going to try the flat roll across to lie 2.
I like this call.
Yeah. I think he might be afraid that if he pushes that other blue rock out too far, it'll give an opportunity for Edin to bump it in.
No.
Oh. Out of his hand. Not a good sign.
Sorry.
That was not a great shot for him.
No.
Left the double. Didn't get the positioning he was looking for. One of those problems with throwing a really hard weight. You've got no control with your sweepers on that.
He took it out of the sweeper's hands. I wasn't expecting quite that much weight.
I don't think he needed that much weight. I think just to make that roll, you needed to bring it down a bit.
Big shot here.
Oh.
So what he's looking at is where he leaves the shooter right now. If he makes the double, he wants to roll to the side and get it away, not leaving another double.
Här skulle dock inte vara katastrof heller. Han måste garda den.
And looking at what he might leave out in the front to advance something back.
Vad är det vi ska träffa då för slashen så över? Vi har 40.
So he wants to catch 7/8 of that rock. Almost dead straight. Run that back. And see if he can't roll his shooter over to the side so it's not playable.
Ja, han borde röra sig ditåt i alla fall. Ja. 45 då. Tror du 40 missar? Skippa på 45 då. Ja. Ja.
So he looks like he may be calling the slash across the face,
Tror inte någon kall.
which is a much more difficult shot.
Ja.
And it's big weight.
Whoa. Whoa.
And he's missed the slash. Just a little full on the broom and never came up for him. Missed across the face, so that leaves here in the final end. Kevin Cooey leading 6-5. But Niklas Edin's squad having the hammer. We're down to the very final skip rock for Kevin Cooey. He's lying one buried here at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. $18,000 on the line for the winner.
No, I don't.
Big discussion where they're going to put this rock.
For putting it in that hole with the out, I'd still be probably going here.
So he's trying to fill that hole and keep
Are we sold on the guard?
Make skip Oscar Eriksson from Team Niklas Edin throw the out turn. Except be an in turn because he's left-handed. Out into the wings, force him out there and trying to grab full 4-foot and then some.
What? What?
A lot of discussion here. The front end chiming in on not to throw a long guard, but to bring it in tight.
I don't think.
And then reduce the path for drawing down.
To get it in there, you'd be throwing the out, which I think the line is kind of natural, don't you guys? Or you guys are worried that it? I'm not worried. I agree with you. Because I mean, say I put it so there's just a hole here. Can he throw the in turn and stick it for 2 through that? No, I know, but.
So what Kevin Cooey is worried about is by throwing the guard up there, that he leaves a hole between his rock and the center line guard that they can come down and throw a hit on that back red one that's in the 4-foot, take it out and stick 2 for the win. So he wants the more natural out turn coming off the center line.
Oh, it's a pass. It's sweet.
Kevin Cooey cleaning his path all the way down.
What do you guys think of that group? You think like a little more?
Just trying to fill that hole.
Think a little more, Mark. It doesn't start straightening out till it gets across the line. So I'm going for half, and then if the line's good, you'll sweep it a bit. Right up here. Easy, Benny.
Boys are on it right away.
Easy.
Looking to throw the guard about halfway, and it sounds like they got the right
Where are
call.
you? Stay with it. Line's real good. No, not you, Brent. Not you.
And he filled that hole perfectly. Doesn't look like there is a path through there. Oscar Eriksson, who is throwing skip rocks, been calling it all weekend long. As Niklas Edin, they test out their different lineup just for the to try something different before the Olympics if anything ever happened to Niklas Edin. Oscar's getting some experience, and so far he's doing really well with a 7-0 record coming into this final at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. This is the last rock of the 8th and final end, unless we're going into extra innings. And Team Edin from Sweden is trailing 6-5, but has the hammer. Right now they're looking at a straight run back. Well, it's not straight, but an angle run back to stick it for 2 and the win. And looking if he comes to the nose, if he'll glance off of it and roll in at the different options. Not looking at the out-turn draw at all on the other side, because he'd have to be full 4 plus some. So he's playing the angle run back. $18,000 on the line with this one shot. Sweepers are on it early.
Whoa! 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 I'm out!
It's close. And the angle's close. Right on it, and he rolls out. He makes the shot, rolls out though, and they get a 1 to take us into an extra end here at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. What a great end of play. What a terrific shot. So in the 8th end of this Ashley Home Store Curling Classic, Niklas Edin's squad managed to pick up their 1 with the hammer, tie it up at 6, and it takes us into an extra end. What an incredible end that was. Almost every rock in play. Both teams going at each other. And now discussion. Taking the rocks down to the other end. That's a sign of respect they're showing to the fans. They want to play it back towards the fans at the home end, so they're taking the rocks down to the other end to bring it back. What a classy thing to do, to have it played back towards the glass, where there's probably 400 to 500 fans sitting up here. The place is absolutely packed here at the Penticton Curling Club. Has been all weekend. What an amazing crowd we have, and what a great sign of respect the players have, throwing this rocks down to the other end so they can play back towards the home end, so all the spectators can see exactly what's going on. Elaine, you're back from ice level. It was a preemptive strike.
I was already there to interview the winner, but
we're going to have to wait 16 more rocks before we get to see that. What a great
this
shot.
has been such an incredible event that I know the fans will appreciate one more end before we figure out who's going to win this thing.
You know, there's $18,000 on the line. Both teams are playing so well. You got to wonder if this isn't the kind of simulation that they're looking for to getting into going to the Olympics or their national championships, what they're looking for, you know, when they come to events like this.
Well, this is a really great game. We saw the teams kind of play cat and mouse for the first, well, 6 ends, I guess. There was up and down and full respect to each other. When you have that respect for the opposition, that you presume they're going to make the double, you presume they're going to make those difficult draws. It's been a really fantastic game. I think this is definitely the kind of preview of what we're going to see in the Olympic Games in just a few months in February in Pyeongchang.
You know what you missed because you were on your way downstairs was Kevin Cooey, when he was calling his guard, his last rock, he said, how do I block that angle run back and block the hole at the same time? Because he knew he did not want to leave either shot for Oscar Eriksson to throw, and sure enough, Oscar makes the run back. Doesn't quite stick it. I mean, that means he was probably out by a good quarter inch on the run back. What an incredible shot.
All the factors that are aligned to have to bring that rock close to making that kind of a shot, the angles, the weight, the ice reading, the sweeping, the decision making, the judging. It's very, very difficult shot, and what a great shot to take us to an extra end. Team Cooey will have the hammer. They are now in a very favorable scoreboard position of being tied with hammer.
What are those percentages on that, Elaine? Going into the last end.
You dissed me too much, Jock, and I put my stats away.
No. But so we know that is the most favorable for Cooey and the least favorable for Team Edin. But, you know, right now with the way that last end was played, I think anything could happen. It was a pretty incredible way to play a final end for both teams.
Yeah, for sure. We know that. And we know that these two teams, the respect that they have for each other, the respect that they have earned from each other is these are two of the top teams in the world, currently ranked. Edin ranked number 2 and Cooey ranked number 5. So this is a very high-level curling game, and it's been a great game. I think the final end is going to be just as exciting, and here it goes.
So here we are in the extra end at the Ashley Homestore Curling Classic. We have 7-0 Niklas Edin, skipped by Oscar Eriksson, against 6-1 Kevin Cooey, skipped by Kevin Cooey. Cooey has the hammer. And this could very easily, you know, people don't even think about it, but this could very easily be an Olympic final. These two teams, we already know that Edin will be at the Olympics in Pyeongchang, and we also know that Kevin Cooey's team will be at the Olympic trials for Team Canada.
Yeah, the Olympic trials are coming up in just a few weeks. We've got 7 teams of each gender in those trials, and the final 2 being declared in less than a week from now, next Sunday.
Off.
So here's that tick shot we were kind of looking for in the 8th end that never happened. So people might be wondering why he's sweeping that through. Well, the reason is if he pushes that rock through, he gets to reset it back where he wants. And because it's in the free guard zone, you're allowed to bump those rocks, but you're not allowed to remove them from play.
He gets to replace it back to where it was, not where it
where it was.
But
where it was, and then remove the shooter. And in Kevin Cooey's case, that's not a bad thing. You know, it's one less rock in play that he doesn't have to remove from the center of the ice later.
Yeah, there is some talk as to whether that shooter should remain in play, that it is an advantage for the shooting team to have only one rock in play after they've actually made a miss.
And there's that long second guard.
You want to be a little
textbook
one.
Start.
And Ben is going to attempt the tick again.
Pretty sure Ben Hebert's celebrating November with that mustache. I don't think that's his traditional mustache.
The season's going by so fast, I forgot it was November.
And there's that tick. So he's got it off the center line.
Moved it over a little bit. And is going to get a little biter.
Which may come in handy a little later on.
You never know.
Mitt på lopp tycker jag.
He would have liked to get that rock a little further off the center line. However, it is improved the situation.
Typ samma spår där du drog. Med på linje, Niklas. Håll igång lite. Ja, ja, måste.
And it's taken off. He looks real close to that guard.
I think they might get it by.
Perfekt linje. Topplopp. Perfekt linje.
There we go.
Just stops. Just over the tee line.
If you try this.
Kevin Cooey's going to attempt to double kill.
What are you going to try?
That is such a good rock there. They're looking at actually, instead of removing the two guards, removing that rock from the button.
I don't like the straight peel. Hey, run it.
Yeah,
So
when that come around is made so perfect that it's biting the top button or on the button, it is a very worrisome rock for the team that has the hammer. At some point, they need to get that rock off the button to give themselves a chance to get to the forefoot, open up the scoring zone just a little bit.
So he paid a price for that, right? He makes the run back, but and he makes the double kill, but he leaves a center line guard.
Yeah, now the difference here is Team Cooey is hoping the next come around won't be quite so close to the button. And the other advantage here is that it's now a red rock out front. So if they do play the run back again, they're running their own rock onto that opponent's stone.
Håll igång. Ja. Ja, kör då T-line. Lite tight. Bara fart.
Looks like lots of weight on that. It's going to slide back. They're not going to be worried about that one quite as much.
Yeah, completely different situation here, where that rock is nowhere near the button, and neither can it be made better. If it was in front of the button, it would be much more worrisome. In front of the tee line, behind back 8 foot is not too much of a worry.
So they're just going to clean out the guards as best they can. Get rid of the worst one first.
Whoa.
He did not want to take out his own rock, his own little biter on the side there.
And just avoids it.
Vi gardar bakom den. Visa en flisa här, gör inget. Får vi en gard mitt bakom den så kan vi ha full fyra i alla fall. Och nära. Känns det som hellre tar lite för mycket isen då på första.
So the positioning of these guards is crucial so that he does not leave a double on the guard. So he's trying to get straight behind the other one and a little tighter to the rings.
Men får det nära. Bra linje. Hit. Strippa. Japp. Kom igen, nu.
Trying to make that as straight back as possible so the double's not there.
Yeah, It's a perfect guard.
That's a great guard.
Now those rocks are not right on the center line, so they're still a degree less worrisome to Team Kui than they would have been if they were right on the center line. However, they do cover a good portion of the forefoot. And with, you know, a slight wrong move, one of them could be moved over in an attempted peel or double peel.
Men kunna nibbla 1,5 foten. Topplock. Samma is.
Again, Niklas and Edin all weekend long has been playing third and sweeping, while Oscar Eriksson has been skipping last rocks, just in an attempt to make sure that all bases are covered if something were to happen to Niklas and Edin at the Olympics. Just something a little bit different. So here we are at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic in the extra end. All tied up with Kevin Kui having the hammer. That rock seemed to just fudge up a little bit at the end.
Yes, we've seen that again and again. They would have liked to have that rock much closer to the tee line, or about a foot closer to the tee line, which makes Kevin have a little bit more difficult decision as to whether he would be wanting to try to get that rock off the forefoot or peel the guard. Here he still has quite a large portion of the forefoot to draw to with his last rock, so number one is getting rid of the guard. The other end, his teammates
you like it? I'm good with it.
Suggesting maybe playing the run back again.
Turn.
He knows he's going to make a double, or if he makes the double, he's still going to have a guard, but he plays it with this out turn side that maybe it rolls a little bit away and makes that that guard a little further away from the center line.
And did not quite curl up enough to connect with the back rock.
Ja, ge han ett semiförsök. Känns ändå som längden är viktig här, för man inte råkar komma för högt. Man vill inte råka komma här och han kommer åt den och rullar undan. Då får han spela samma slag sen för vilka sätt. Ja. Ligga här. Ja, han får lite vinkel, ja. Haken här då. Här på dig. Lite till.
So replacing that guard.
They want this guard to be a little bit more towards the center line. Not so much about guarding the rock that's biting the forefoot, but creating a better position for their next come around. So Kevin will have a choice of playing the run through again, or the peel, or trying to remove that rock off the forefoot. If he removes the rock off the forefoot, he will roll open, leaving the path down behind that new center guard open for a better play.
Ja, trycker också där. Sluta glida på fint. Ja, snabbt, stenkort om haken typ. Och linjen är perfekt. Tror ni, hade han. Ställa något liknande då. Den här kan ju gå ganska lätt. Men... Bra linje. Halvsten över linan.
This guard looks good.
Var med Krippa, du kan behöva dra den.
Edin holding the broom where he wants that guard to come to a stop.
Yep.
He'd like to cover just a little bit of that rock. Make him think about it. There we go.
That's exactly where they asked for it.
Make him think about whether he wants to run the double or try and take the one off the forefoot.
Probably. Right on the 7. What were you thinking?
Kui's going to try and hit this just off nose and roll his shooter off to the side.
No. No. No! Right off!
Missing the double. But he cleared off the guards. There's no guard in play now. So trying to pick his exact positioning on that rock. Because of that blue one at the back, if he leaves the double, which he's likely to do, then if Kui makes the double, he will not be shot rock. So they're trying to position this rock exactly where they want it, making Kevin Kui's shot as tough as possible. Here we are at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic in an extra end, playing for $18,000. Team Niklas Edin from Sweden, skipped by Oscar Eriksson all weekend long. Does not have the hammer, but right now we're looking at a good situation against Kevin Kui's rink from Alberta. Look at a little bump. Again, they're okay leaving the double. They want to cover as much of the forefoot as possible, but they also don't want to leave him an easy shot. They're hoping that maybe they can force him to draw. Because if he makes the double, the rock at the back will count.
We threw those two, remember I threw that there for three.
Chappknack eller lite hellre där. Men däremot, ser han bara en fjärdedel av den ligger T-line, så han har ingen, han spelar inte med fart, han fridrar ju.
So he just wants to tap that one straight back if he can.
Kom precis över linan, jag bara funderar.
Try to force Kui to draw if they can. And reduce that scoring area as small as possible.
Nej. Ta precis utanför kant 4. Så. Ja. Och så bak lockfart själv.
This is the final stone for skip Oscar Eriksson, 26-year-old. Again, this team has already qualified for the Olympics and will be representing Sweden in Pyeongchang.
Nej.
$18,000 on the line here.
Ja. Båda tar lite mindre till och med. Ta 2 cm mindre. 95. Där var det. Ja, centimeter. Snacka fart här. Bra linje.
No line yet, but just keeping it clean. It starts to go. And it bumps it up just enough, leaving Kevin Kui. He's got to get full forefoot. Making his decision really easy. He's been mentally preparing for this for 2 shots at least. Guys are doing a little bit of housekeeping, cleaning the path all the way down. Nice little bump there. He would have hoped for just to stagger it, just a shade more in towards the button, make this scoring area a little bit smaller. So if he'd bumped that rock about 5 inches deeper and a little bit more towards the center line, he would have been a little happier. But he's made that scoring area really small for Kevin Kui. And here we have it. It's all on the line right here. $18,000 with this shot.
Piece of the white.
Ben Hebert hasn't come off of it much. He's been working it hard the whole way. It's coming down fast.
Yes, 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 yes! Hard! Hard, Benny!
Ben Hebert's working it all the way. It is so close. It is so close. I can't call it from here. I can't tell. It looks like it might be one blue Niklas Edin stone, but I can't tell from here. Everybody's afraid to do anything. Ben Hebert knew right out of the get-go. He eased up for about a split second, but he swept it from coast to coast. It is so close. We're getting the measuring stick out. Mark Kennedy, third for Team Cooey, has the measuring stick out. Here we go. It doesn't get any closer than this. $18,000 to the winner, $12,000 in this Ashley Home Store Curling Classic first annual event to the runner-up. Here we got the measure on that one. It's coming around. Oh my goodness. It is so close. It is so close. Congratulations, Kevin Cooey, Mark Kennedy, Brent Lang, and Ben Hebert. $18,000 here at the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic. What an incredible finish. A draw. And he beats him out by about, it looks like about a millimeter. We've got Elaine Jackson down at ice level. She's going to try and talk to Kevin Cooey when we get a second. We're going down to ice level in just a second with Elaine. Which camera are we going to?
Ready.
There we go. Elaine Jackson down there with Kevin Cooey at ice level.
Congratulations, Kevin. What an amazing final game that was. Extra end, measure on the last rock. How often do you play these guys, and what made the difference today in this game out here?
Yeah, you know, they're one of the top teams in the world. We play them quite a bit, and they're getting better and better. And you know, it was kind of a back and forth game. Some real good shots, a few misses out there, and just fortunate for us we made the last one.
So tell me what you and your team think about this first event here in Penticton as a slam or a tour event. What are your thoughts on the event here in Penticton?
Oh, it's been so unbelievable. I mean, just the effort they've put into it. First year event, and you know, already it's one of the best spiels on the tour for sure, if not the best.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic week here. So winning this big event here in Penticton, how does this make you feel leading into the final couple of weeks leading into the trials?
It's great. You know, there's a lot of good teams here. Anytime you can just come through it with a victory in a tough field event makes you feel good. And then, you know, it's going to give us some confidence. I still think, you know, we're not firing on all cylinders. We had a few misses out there, but we're going in the right direction.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Congratulations to you and your team, and thank you to Penticton for this amazing event. It's been a pretty special one. Great game.
Thank you.
So that's it from the Penticton Curling Club, the Ashley Home Store Curling Classic, wrapped up for year number 1. I'm Jock Tyre. That's Elaine Jackson down there at ice level. A big thanks to Shaw TV Okanagan for producing such an amazing show. All the fans and spectators, as well as volunteers here at the Penticton Curling Club. Thank you and good evening.